I'm Mark Pitchers, fishery owner, consultant and carp freak.
Double bubble.
Big pits, tiny ponds, day tickets, club lakes, syndicates, I've fished them all.
Let's turn up for the books.
I love the peace, the tranquility, the anticipation and the thrill of the chase, but ultimately it boils down to one thing, a carp in the bottom of a landing net. High five! I've been the traveller in Crafty Carper. I'm now the face of Total Carp's 20s challenge, so I certainly know a thing or two about catching carp under pressure. But I now face my toughest challenge yet. Carp fishing missions set by you on Fox's Facebook page. And once the guys at Fox select that challenge, I have no option but to accept. Can I do it? Yeah.
Oh, we've got him! Yes!
This is the challenge.
What's up, carp freaks? It's challenge time again, and I'm here at Linear Fisheries without Harry. He's running a couple hours late, he's stuck in traffic, so I'm having to do this intro on my phone. But this was never going to be an easy challenge. Catching carp from any water in February is certainly not guaranteed, but to make things a little bit more tricky, a little bit more interesting, I've got here to find most lakes on the complex are actually frozen. So yeah, a little bit of a minor stumbling block, but what I've done, I've picked a swim in the middle of St John's Lake. I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to make a little bit of a base camp and wait till Harry gets here, and then hopefully by then the ice will have cleared a bit.
Well, Harry's finally rocked up. I had set up in the middle of the road bank on St John's. The ice was starting to melt and sun had come up. It was looking quite nice actually. I was semi-confident, and then Roy, the bailiff, come over and put a proper dampener on everything. He was like, "You're wasting your time, mate." I'd do that. Let's do that again. Let's do that again.
He's not cockney.
Yeah, he is. He's gangster. He's like Ray Winston. Right, let's do that again. Until Roy, the bailiff, come over and told me that St John's hasn't done a fish now for 6 weeks, and I'm wasting my time and I need to be on B1. So I packed everything away. I'm just loading the rest of the kit into the van, and I'm now going to make my way over onto B1.
Don't think you are. Look, Mark, we've spoken about this quite a lot recently, and the idea was always to fish on St John's, wasn't it?
It was.
It was.
It was, yeah.
So
until Roy kind of said it's been 6 weeks without a fish, and it, you know.
Thing is, Mark, it's not really your decision to make.
So once again, what you've done here, what you've done, you've basically just watched me pack everything away, put it in the back of the van. Everything away, you put it in the back of the van. And
well, most of it you had packed away before I got here, but yeah, more or less. So yeah, St John's hasn't done a fish for 6 weeks. People have been saying on Facebook that it's not really that much of a challenge just to roll some bait and catch some fish on it. Well, a bit more of a challenge now.
But frozen when I got here wasn't big enough challenge, no.
Well,
it's not frozen now, is it?
No, it's not. At least you can get your rods in. Come on, mate.
Right. Okay. Everything out again then. Cheers. Well, here we are back on St John's. I've decided to plot up just round the corner from where I had originally set up. I'm now in the middle of the social bank, but time really is cracking on. I mean, I got here at 8:30 this morning. It is now 2:30, and to top it all off, I don't even have any bait, because the challenge that was set for me came from Sean Field, and he said Mark should make his own pop-ups and bottom baits using a fish meal or nutty base mix and create his own flavour, and then try and catch on them any carp size would do. So that's what...
There is a little bit more in that, isn't there?
Any carp size would do. Can't quite read the rest.
Read it.
But for camera purposes, a 20-pound beast would do. All this has to be done on the bank. See, the question is where's your cut-off point? Because it says any size carp would do, but a 20-pound. Where's your cut-off point?
£20 plus, that's your cut-off point.
Well, I read it differently. I read it as any size carp would do. Anyway, you're being a bit picky now, Harry. So, yeah, time is very much of the essence. I mean, this weather, we've got high pressure, it's sunny, it's crying out for zigs. And I'd love to be casting around bits of black foam in zig liners, but I'm not allowed to do that. I have to make my own pop-ups. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to crack on with them. At least I can get some rods in the water, and then we'll worry about making up some free bait a little bit later on. Hello and welcome to Mark's Bankside Bait Boutique. I'm going to be making the pop-ups now, and I've spent the past week at home mixing up all sorts of variations, flavour combinations, and I did come up with a couple of mixes that I was really happy with, and I'm now going to recreate them now on the bank. So the first thing we need to do is crack one egg into a mixing bowl. Let's whisk all that up. It's a lot messier doing it on the bank than it is in the kitchen. Right, okay, the flavour combination. Now, like I said before, I did mix together all sorts of flavours, and I found that some were very overpowering. I might put 3 flavours together, but you can only smell one that was actually coming through. So in the end, I found the best way to do it was just get a couple of bottles together, like this, and just smell them together, and then it'll give you an idea of what it will actually smell like when the 2 flavours are blended. So I've gone here with a juicy fruit and a peachade. Now the main flavour I want is the juicy fruit, and the recommended dosage is 5 ml per half a kilo of mix. And because I'm making a high attract pop-up, what I'll do, I'll use that dosage for half a kilo for 1 egg. So 5 ml will be my 1 egg flavour rate. I've nicked a syringe from my kids' medicine bottle. So in goes 5 ml of the juicy fruit. And it recommends the same dosage of the peachade. So I'm going to put this in about 3 ml. So it just kind of complements the juicy fruit flavour. Yeah, so in goes 3 ml of that. Whisk it all up again. And next we need to add the colours. Now I like a washed out pink colour for some reason. The past 12 months it's a colour that's worked better than any other. It's not quite a white, and it's not obviously a fluoro pink. And I think it really does work well, especially in clear water conditions where you're fishing for pressured fish. So that's what I'm going to go for. And to make the perfect tone, the colour of the washed out pink, I found the best way is to put a generous helping of the white colouring in. So I'm using 2 teaspoons of the white. and then mix all that into the egg. You'll know when it's mixed together because the yellow yolk will actually turn white. So there you go, you can see now that the yolk has turned white. And then we need to add the pink, fluoro pink. Now not much of this is needed at all. We put in the 2 heaped teaspoons of white, but for the pink I just start with the very, very tip of the teaspoon of pink. You can always put more in, but you can't really take it back out again. You'll see just that tiny bit of pink is already making it go like a sort of salmony pink colour. Yeah, and that's about perfect. Now you can see it's like a nice washed out, almost sort of salmon pink colour. And the final ingredient I put in is just a fruit palatant, which I find just rounds off the flavour. Just gives it a bit of an edge. You don't need much at all. It is quite strong. I'm just again using the tip of a teaspoon here. And that'll be enough. Again, final thorough mix in. Right, the next job is to add the pop-up mix. Just add a little bit at a time, keep mixing. Use the fork at first until it becomes a lot less sticky, and when it's a bit more manageable I'll then finish it off by hand. Can I say that? Right, and just get your fingers in. It gets worse than this. When it stops becoming really sticky, then you're about there. So finish it off by hand, get your fingers in. When it stops getting sticky, you're finished. Christ. And if it goes totally dry, you've gone too far. Oh dear, dear. There you go. Perfect. It's not sticking to my hands. Nice manageable paste. So what we're going to do now is put it through the sausage gun and boil them up into little pop-ups. I've got some water boiling in the pan. I've got my paste here, which I'm now going to put in our sausage gun. Got a 12mm nozzle on here, which I find a nice size just for fishing little pop-ups. I got my little rolling table, which holds how many baits? 1, 2, 3, 12 baits. Now, what I'm going to do here, because I'm just fishing single hook baits, 12 is more than enough for the time being. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to roll out 12 baits. And ordinarily when I'm making any of my pop-ups at home, I'll air dry them for 3 or 4 days so they go hard. Now I haven't got that luxury, so I'm just going to make these 12 baits,
and I'm going to boil them for a little bit longer than I would do normally. Normally I give them a 60-second boil and then air dry them for 3 or 4 days. But in this case, I have to just boil them for a couple of minutes so that they're hard enough, so they've got a tough enough skin to stay out there all night without breaking apart or dissolving. So there we are, there's my 12 baits ready. Just wait for the pan to come to the boil. In we go. I'll start my timer on my phone. Well, I've had just over 90 seconds now. That should be long enough. It's about 30 seconds longer than what I would normally give them. I forgot to bring something to get them out, but some of them will be like bullets by the time they get out. But there you go. I'm just going to leave these to dry for a while. By the time I've tied up some rigs, they should have dried off and also toughened up enough to cast one out.
When I turned up, he was said getting ready to go over to B1.
Yeah.
I was like, no, man up. It's got to kick off at some point, isn't it?
Not taking a poke chance. More chance of me getting pregnant.
Really?
Been no carp anglers on it. And you know what carp are like as well as I do, mate. They go to sleep. That's why Brasenose is fishing.
Yeah, because it's
Always anglers on there, leads flying about,
moving
bait going in,
about, yeah.
keeping them on their toes. These two over there, the first carp anglers we've had on here for 2 or 3 weeks.
Mate, I said I was gone, I was moved.
I saw you moving.
They sent me back.
I'd love you to prove me wrong. But I wouldn't mind a side bet. Yeah. Picked up on aircraft.
Well, as I mentioned before, ordinarily for my zig work I would be fishing the zig liners with a little bit of foam, but this kind of goes back to how I used to fish zigs pre-zig liner days really. Here's our pop-up that we just made up, the washed out pink pop-up. I'm fishing with a size 6 SSBP hook. It's just a knotless knot and a little hair there. Small piece of silicone on the shank of the hook just to keep the hair in place, and we've got a micro liner sleeve just over the eye there. So that's the hook end. Coming up from that we've got the 12-pound zig and floater hook link. It's just under 8 feet long. I've got this one set at. Then we have a long anti-tangle sleeve to reduce the tangles with the long hook link. We've got a hefty 4-ounce lead, fish on the slick lead clips. Then we have the new naked tail rubber here, and it's designed for use when you're not using anti-tangle tubing or lead core, and it basically keeps it a lot more streamlined when you're fishing with a naked line straight through to the lead clip. So that's all ready to wang out there. I'm clipped up here at 20 wraps, and I think what a lot of people do when they're zig fishing, they kind of just chuck it out there and hope for the best. But I've marked all my rods at set distances. I've got one at 20 wraps, one's going to be at 22, one's going to be at 24 wraps. And I've marked the depths on my phone as well. I've kept a log. That just means if I catch a fish on whatever particular rod, I can then adjust all the other rods accordingly and hopefully capitalise on whatever depth or whatever distance the fish are located.
How is it? What, getting here to find the lake frozen and not done a fish in 6 weeks? It's not exactly the easiest challenge, is it? Also the fact I've never even put a rod in the lake. I don't know anything about the lake. I'm just trying to, knock myself down so when I come out of it, I'll look really good. That's all I'm doing. Honestly.
Right, need tea. Well, I'm just finishing off the paste to do the bottom baits. I've just done a small 1 egg mix as a bit of a test run, really. Didn't want to put all my eggs in one basket, so to speak. And it's got the same flavour combination as before. It's got the peachade and the juicy fruit flavour. And I've done this on the Essential Fish Base Mix, which is a fruity fish meal type base mix. I put a little bit of white colouring in it as well. I wanted it to be a washed out bait, similar to the washed out pink pop-ups really that we made up before. That paste is about right now, so all I'm going to do is put it through the sausage gun again. But instead of rolling them into boilies, into little balls, all I'm going to do is just roll them into strips. Like into sausages, really. It's a bit hard without a worktop. Okay, just roll them into sausages like that, and I'll drop them in the pan, let them boil, and then just break them up into baits, and that'll make a good spod mix, really, because tomorrow conditions are changing. It is going to get wet, it's going to get windy, and we have got a bit of a slightly lower pressure system moving in, and it's looking more likely I'm going to need to introduce some bait. It's looking less ziggy and more baity, so I want to be prepared. I mean, I've just done this 1 egg mix now, but I think what I'll do, I'll be awake through the night and do a couple more mixes, and I should have enough bait to see me through tomorrow should the fish decide to switch on. And it is looking a little bit more encouraging than when I last spoke to you. We have seen a fish show, at least. One fish showed probably about 80 yard out, and that got a zig rig landed right next to it. So I've got a bait in the vicinity of where a fish did show. So yeah, I'm perhaps a little bit more optimistic than I am confident, but time will tell, really. I'm just going to drop these sausages into the pan of boiling water I've got down here now. There we are, and then it's just a case of just breaking them up like that, and we can spod them out, and I think that'll work really well. We need some motivational music. Let's see. Well, there's one song obviously which springs to mind immediately. That's what we need. That can inspire a nation. Inspire the world. Harry, sing it. Harry. 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 Ah, I missed it. Rewind it. Yeah. I need to do voice training exercises for 5-10 minutes and I'll be all over that. Good morning. Well, last night was uneventful, although not long after it went dark I did have a bit of a drop back, and then the bobbin started tightening up again. I struck into nothing. I think it might have been a trailer perhaps. So yeah, that got me excited for a little while, but my optimism has now kind of developed into full-blown pessimism. I haven't seen any more fish since that one we saw on dusk. It's just looking pretty dead, to be honest. It's now been, well, as Roy, the head bailiff, said yesterday, 6 weeks since this lake has done a fish. And while there's always the thought that it has to kick off, if it is going to kick off, it isn't going to kick off with the temperatures we had. It's going to need something pretty significant. And I personally don't see it kicking off anytime soon. And that was kind of my thought from the moment I got here, which is why I really did want to pack up and move on to B1, but was told I wasn't allowed to. So yeah, that's kind of where we're at the moment. I don't really know. I think it's going to take an absolute miracle if I'm going to turn this round and catch from here. Even using the tactics I would like to be using with bits of platform, I don't think it would make any difference. So yeah.
Do you reckon we've been a bit harsh?
I don't. Normally, I can kind of roll with it and think, you cheeky monkey, you know what I mean? But yeah, I do think you've been a little bit harsh on this one, to be quite honest.
Right. Well, maybe we'll change the parameters slightly.
But you can let me move in the peg next door or something.
If you want to move, you can move.
Go on, yeah.
And you can move lakes.
Yeah?
On the complex.
Yeah.
You can. I mean,
but
this place hasn't done a fish for 6 weeks.
Yeah. As we just discussed yesterday, when yes.
So you know, I don't think you've got much chance of catching out of here. So yeah.
Is B1 in the parameters?
It's on the complex, isn't it?
I feel like there's going to be another twist or another sting in his tail.
The challenge was said that size isn't important, but a 20-pounder for the cameras would be nice. A 20-pounder for the cameras is essential if you move.
Okay. Well, that's jolly decent of you. Right, let's get packed up then. Like now.
I feel better now I've ditched the pod. I feel better now I'm carpier. It's instantly given me a massive boost of confidence.
What's wrong with the pod?
Oh, it's awesome. I'm not knocking the pod, I'm not dissing the pod. It's awesome. It looks tarty, it looks cool, but it's not carpy either. Pods just aren't carpy. As nice as it is and as tarty as it is, it's just not carpy. Single bank stick, butt rests on the ground, bank stick's even in the water. It's just carpy, it's just giving me that boost. And the pod's the reason I've been blanking. It is the sole reason. Nothing else that even comes into the equation. Here's a top tip for you. Instead of starting a fresh tea bag pyramid every time, just bring the used ones from your previous session along. There we go. Well, here we are over on Brasenose 1. I've managed to slot in between a couple of other anglers. It's much busier over here than it is back over on St John's, and for obvious reasons really. I mean, this lake has been producing fish, not loads of them by any means, but it has been producing the odd fish. I think there was certainly one carp caught yesterday, but, and I'm not making excuses here, the fish that have been caught recently have been caught either on zigs using bits of foam, or the carp that have been caught over bait, they've been caught using either a maggot or some sort of particle approach, sweet corn. So really being restricted to pop-ups and boilies only, it's not fishing at its most effective for this time of year, but I do feel like we've got a much better chance here than we have back over on St John's. Because we've got a little bit of a lower pressure system moving in, temperatures are warming up, it's overcast and windy. I'm going to persevere with the zigs, but I'm going to drop them down. I was fishing I think 8, 9, 10 foot zigs yesterday. I'm dropping them down to about 4 feet. It's about 12 foot deep out there, so I'm concentrating on that bottom third. So I've already clipped up this rod at 30 wraps, so 120 yards. That'll kind of put me somewhere towards the centre of the lake, which is where I think the fish may be lying. So still got my washed out pink pop-up on. They smell much better now that they've had a chance to dry. You can smell the flavour combination better, and they've dried, so much harder, more buoyant. So let's get this out there, and then we'll set about getting some breakfast on the go. Well, I've made a bit of a tactical change. It's kind of felt less and less ziggy as the day has wore on. As you can see now, it's chucking it down. So I'm going to go on to fishing on the bottom with them washed out pink pop-ups that you saw me roll yesterday. I've already put out a couple of spods of bait. Them sausages that I rolled last night, I kind of sat awake till the early hours and made up a kilo and a bit of them boiled sausages that I then broke up into little pieces and little sort of crumbed baits. So yeah, I'm clipped up at 31 and a bit wraps, so 125 yards. I just have a feeling them fish are going to be out in that sort of middle area. I'm just going to put out a nice little spread of that boilie, that crumb, and just stagger 3 rods in a line at that same distance, and hopefully we can nick a fish that way.
Would you say that this challenge is the hardest one that you've had to do?
The challenge isn't the hardest challenge, I don't think, but it's probably been the toughest conditions where I've had to catch for a challenge, if that makes sense.
Really?
Yeah, definitely. Well, we got a little more than 24 hours ago, this lake was frozen. It did a few fish yesterday when conditions looked prime for a zig, and now they don't really look prime for anything. It doesn't look prime for a zig, and the water temperature's that cold, I don't really think the fish are going to get down to the bottom and have a proper feed. So I'd say conditions now are as bad as they could be, but I don't know. I'm still hopelessly optimistic. I'd say at the moment I'd say it's 50-50. Like winning the lottery. That's 50-50. You either win it or you don't win it. 50-50. Well, this is the final pop-up rig I'm going to cast out. The rig itself is nothing complicated at all. I've got a size 5 SR hook, little bit of silicone there just to trap the hair in place, to sort of level with the barb. And I've got a quick change pop-up weight in a size BB, and that's sitting on £20 Camotex soft. Now I've got the coating intact as it exits the eye of the hook. I've just made a short break where the pop-up weight sits, just to give it a little bit of movement there, and you see that's how it will sit on the lake bed. So it does have good hooking properties, even though there's no shrink tube over the eye. It doesn't need it in this instance, it's absolutely perfect as it is. Coming up there I've got a long loop to act as a long anti-tangle sleeve, where it's doubled over, standard anti-tangle sleeve in place just to secure the hook link on the quick chain swivel, slick lead clip, and again I'm using the naked tail rubber there, 4-ounce lead, and that's it. Let's wang it out there. I feel like the hat is bringing out the Yorkshire in me. How do? I'd like to talk to you about me tattle if I'm here.
Can you explain your attire for the session?
Oh, here we go.
I'm sure a lot of people will be asking the question.
Really?
Yeah.
You're still going on about it? Where do I begin?
Well, I think start at the top and work down.
Hat? Nothing wrong with that. It's quite an old school look. You see it in loads of black and white photos from back in the day, and I think it's going to make a revival. Just trying to stay one step ahead, Harry. I like to be a trendsetter. I've got the checked barber scarf, which I think complements the look rather well. You know, you've got to stay fresh. I like to think, you know, in the summer I might mix it up. I might maybe have a beret with a silk scarf, perhaps. I don't know. And then working down, got the hunting boots. It's a fresh look. Get nowhere by staying stale, Harry. All these chunky knits. Some go out of fashion with carp bangers, I tell you.
You were wearing a chunky knit yesterday.
That was yesterday. I'm not wearing one today. Fashion changes so quick. You just literally giving me laser eye surgery with that. I can't even look.
You don't look at the light, you look below it.
I can't. Do you know how? Let me shine it in your face. Seriously, let me shine that in your face. You must be able to turn it down. I'm getting a suntan. Let me turn it round. I'll show you how bright it is. I can't. I have to squint to look at you. Good morning. Time's it? It's 2:30. And yeah, got one. Just pinned off its fin. This doesn't feel a bad fish at all, this. Whether it's a 20-pounder.
I'll be giving it the big cheer. I would say that is a pass.
Here's my little bankside rolled special. That did the biz. That's the fella. Right then, the sling is already zeroed. Feels a 20, certainly looks a 20. £25, 1 ounce. I'm absolutely over the moon with that. Go, February 25-pounder. On the last challenge I needed a brace of 20s to pass, and I was bitterly disappointed to have failed that one, but to pass this in such tough conditions, I'm absolutely over the moon. Really have been up against it on this one, having to start the session on St John's, which I hadn't done a fish in 6 weeks. Really wasn't ideal. I wanted to come on this lake in the first place, but they wouldn't quite allow me to do that. But it's also a first for me, really, because I've never actually rolled my baits on the bank and then used them during the session. So yeah, it's a bit of a first, so a bit of a milestone for me, that one. But there we go. I'm absolutely over the moon with this. So thank you very much, Sean, for writing in with your challenge. Challenge completed. Well, good morning. Last time you saw me, it was about 2:30 in the morning. It was cold, it was raining, it was miserable, but I had that nice, lovely 25-pounder. Saw me pass the challenge. The weather's changed massively this morning. Got clear skies, barely a breath of wind, and it really is perfect zig weather. So them pop-ups I was using past the challenge have now gone, and I've been fishing zigs for about an hour now, although seeing as the challenge is in the bag, I've reverted back to how I would be fishing. Instead of using pink pop-ups on zigs, I'm fishing little bits of black foam on the zig aligners. Like I said, I've been fishing about an hour now. About 15 minutes after casting out, I had the first take, which sadly dropped off not long after picking up the rod. Seems I've been given another chance. Harry's fishing in the next peg, and he's been giving me a little bit of a spanking this morning.
So to speak.
Yeah, he's had 3 bites this morning to my 1. Hey. There we go.
And if ever there was proof that rolling baits on the bank in the middle of February to try and pass a challenge wasn't the right tactic to adopt, then this is it. I've been fishing with the Zigger liners for, well, an hour, and I've had 2 bites. This one was on a black and red combo. But yeah, 2 bites in the space of an hour, rather than pulling my hair out fishing with 12mm pinks. It's just not the way to do it, is it really? It's all about using the right tactics on the day, and it's been frustrating for me fishing with tactics I know aren't, well, just isn't the one. Well, this is now 3 bites in about an hour and 20 minutes. Don't need to say anymore, do I really? Rough, I think, dirty, smelly tap. This looks like fun. Well, I've just untangled that car crash that we had earlier, and I've managed to get 2 rods back out on that spot. 2 casts back on the spot. Never got round to casting out the 3rd because the first rod was away. You know what that is, Harry?
What's that, Mark?
It's double bubble. Well, here we are. This is probably the best looker from them 2 fish I had in the net at the same time. This one's 18.5 pounds, and it just goes to show really, I mean, changing over to my sort of traditional zig winter tactics really has changed this session round from being a rather tedious, arduous session into a very enjoyable one indeed. 4 bites this morning in the space of an hour and a half, but it's now time to call it a day. I'm going to hit the road and I'll see you very soon. If you'd like to watch more of my challenge videos, then click the link here. Or if you'd like to subscribe to Fox Fishing TV, then click the link here.
That was good.